Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be talking about why I traded my X100V for the Leica M262 here. For those of you who don't know, this is a 10-plus-year-old camera. So you guys are probably wondering, why would I trade the X100V for such an old camera? The main reason being is that this sensor and its colors and just the way it kind of renders things is just beautiful to me and just has more of a look than the X100V does. That's one of my main reasons for that. But the other big reason is that this is an actual rangefinder. I've always been someone to use a rangefinder over any other style of cameras. It's just the way I prefer to work. It's just a preference. It's not any better than X100V. In a lot of ways, the X100V is a way better camera than this for sure, and it's technically speaking. But when it comes to the way that I work and the way that I move around in the streets and when I'm just exploring, this is a lot more natural to me than just point and shooting and just framing only. Like, I enjoy manual focusing. I enjoy, manually setting everything and just really being in the moment. So another reason why I really didn't like the X100V was its look. It was very clinical to the point where the pictures just didn't really feel like photographs. And this is really hard to explain, but when I shot film, the thing that made film so exciting was that the films had texture to them. Obviously they had grain, they had texture, they had these beautiful fall-offs that digital didn't have, and it was really hard for me to switch to digital back in the day. But I think what made me switch to digital so easily was that I was able to choose a lens, and the lens kind of carries those characteristics over a lot. So this is an older style Voigtlander Nocton 1.4. This is the version 2, and this lens has a lot of character, has a look to it that the X100V just could not give me. Even at f4, this thing was giving me a beautiful pop, a beautiful rendering, and this very kind of soft, kind of fall off in the corners that I enjoy. I don't like a very clinical lens. I want a lens to be sharp, but I want it to have a look. I want it to have some type of character. So I couldn't really achieve that with the X100V because of the fixed lens on there. It's just a very clinical, very clean lens, and I know a lot of people like that, but personally, for my work, I don't like that. I like to have a little bit of character, a little bit of more texture in my work, so I love it for that. So let's talk about why I think the M262 is actually a hidden gem from Leica, and a lot of people don't talk about this. There's a couple of videos out there talking about this camera, but not many examples of the images. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of images with you so you guys can see what I mean when it comes to the colors, to the texture of the sensor, and just the way it kind of renders things. Yeah, it does not have that much dynamic range, but I honestly find that as a positive. It causes me to kind of shoot again like I did with film and really be on point with my exposure, really kind of think about that stuff again. Before, I was getting kind of lazy with the X100V. I was kind of just point shooting, I was just point and shooting. The way the camera was meant to be used, I wasn't really being careful, and that kind of led to a lot of mistakes, which I wish I didn't really get used to. So I had to kind of relearn how to shoot manually again fully, and I'm happy to be doing it again because I've been getting better results. I'm way more on point, and I've just been making better frames with this style of camera because it's just what I'm used to using. Another thing about this camera that I love, obviously, is the sensor, the colors, the sensor. I think it's a beautiful sensor. People don't talk about the sensor that much, but I think it's great. I'm gonna share some images here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It just has beautiful color rendition. Sometimes I don't even edit the images that much. They're pretty much good to go sometimes, depending on the lighting, and I could just leave them alone and just do minor editing, which is great. And I'm someone who heavily edits my images, especially when it came to the Fuji. The Fuji had terrible colors in my opinion, and I really hated editing those files. It took a lot of work to get them to where I wanted them to be, and it just had this overcast on the image that I didn't enjoy. But the M262, on the other hand, just has great colors off the bat, and they're very easy to work with for my specific style of colors, and that's another reason why I wanted to go with this over the X100V. Another thing I love about this camera over the X100V is going to be the build quality alone. The build quality of the X100V is not bad, but it did feel like a toy. But I did like how light it was. That was a big plus. But this camera is actually pretty light itself because it's not full brass. The bottom plate is brass, some parts on the top are brass, but the actual plate itself here, I believe it's I don't know if it's aluminum, but it could be, but it's very light. It's a very light camera. It's not heavy at all, so I could carry it all day just like the X100V and not really feel fatigued. And just better build quality overall, better viewfinder. That's the one thing I always was big on. I love having a nice bright viewfinder that really feels amazing to look through. It's a joy to look through this camera over the X100V. Now, in the past, I stated that gear didn't matter to an extent, and I still believe in that. I believe you can still make powerful images on any camera. It does not matter what you use. It all comes down to your own vision and the way you see the world, and the way you're able to kind of, express that through a lens or through a frame. That's all you still. The camera is more of a personal choice, in my opinion. I believe as an artist, for myself, I require a look for my images. I want to look because I want to portray my work in a certain way. The X100V just wasn't able to give me that, but I was still able to make the same style of work. I was just missing that little extra element that I require for myself for my images. That was the only difference. And as a working photographer, obviously the gear is going to matter to you because you need that gear to be reliable. You got to be able to accomplish your job or your goal with that gear, you know. So that's where gear matters in that aspect. But other than that, anyone can make any amazing image on anything. I still believe in that. And till this day, I still use my iPhone constantly, especially when I don't have my camera on me. A lot of the images you guys see on Instagram, you guys don't even realize that sometimes it's an iPhone mixed in with this, mixed in with older cameras I've used. It really doesn't matter. I'll use whatever I have at the time. So those are the primary reasons why I got rid of my X100V for the Leica M262. Again, I don't think the X100V is a bad camera at all. I think it's actually a pretty great camera. But for my needs, I just enjoy being able to experiment with different lenses, especially older style lenses or vintage style lenses. And I just enjoy having an actual rangefinder. So that's it for me. That's pretty much why I wanted to go back to the system. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give me a like, give me a comment, let me know your thoughts on that. And also if you guys want to see more of my work, I'll put my Instagram down below as well as my website. Till next time guys, keep shooting.